What's good, YouTube? It's your boy Tavumi here, doing a deck profile on our teammates, Burger King Man, aka bkman, for his build that he's playing this format. This is a post priority change rule deck, so let us know what you guys think. Comment down below, etc., etc. By all means, go on ahead.
Okay, well, as you can tell from my mat, I'm a pretty big Malefic guy. I've been toying with Malefics ever since they first came out, and right now this is my latest Malefic build. I call it Malefic anti-meta. Start off, 3 Malefic Cyberends. You know, you've probably seen these guys before. They're probably the main thing that Malefics were showcased on. Big 4,000 beater that barely needs any requirement to be brought out. I mean, besides 5-headed dragon, this thing runs over everything in the meta. Just great big beat stick and psychological warfare. You summon this out so quickly, it just instills fear into the hearts of your opponent. Next up, 3 Malefic Stardust Dragons. These are the next. With the 3 Malefic Cyberends, those are the only Malefics I use in the deck because, unlike the other Malefics, these remove from play from the extra deck instead of the main deck. So I don't have to run Cardi cards in the main deck to be able to use the other Malefics. So this is the core set of the Malefics. While not as powerful as Malefic Cyberend Dragon, Malefic Stardust puts in a lot of work because its effect prevents our field spells from being destroyed. So, you know, it's great for, Malefic Stardust plus Necker Valley. It's a very potent combo. And another great thing about him is that even though 2500 isn't the best thing in the world, it's big enough that it baits out a lot of things. Baits out the bottomlesses, baits out the warnings, baits out the torrential. It's just great. Like, I summon this thing, they blow it up, and then I summon a bigger monster next turn and just continue to beat with that. So 3 Malefic Stardust, great card. And personally, I think it's the best Malefic artwork out of all the Malefics. Next up, go more in the anti-meta department. 3 Thunder King Ryos. Not much to say about these guys that hasn't already been said. Stops the searching, stops the special summoning, just general stun.
Awesome. That's it. Just awesome.
Next up, 3 Doom Cows. A bit of an interesting choice because I know a lot of people. Whenever I show up Doom Cows, people always say, "Oh, there's so many hand traps this format. Why are you playing these guys?" Well, a couple of things. The thing is, there's so many effects that Doom Cow always gets to negate something. And the thing is about the hand trap problem. Hand traps, yes, game 1 they are a slight problem. But the thing is, the way my deck runs is that the only thing they'd want to do hand traps on is to negate this thing. And having all your hand traps just to negate one monster is no use. In game 2, I've asked the people who I've played against, and 100% of the time, they side out all their hand traps to make room for stuff to counter my deck. Yeah. So game 2 and game 3, my Doom Cows are free to wreck their field.
Damn it! We're losing!
And last but not least, which is the unsung hero of the deck, 2 Ancient Gear Gajilotron Dragons. Seems like a weird choice before you see my spell and trap cards, but this card, it's an easily summonable 3000 beater that when it attacks, it stops spells and trap cards from being activated by your opponent. So, this stops Mirror Forest, Dimensional Prison, Horn of the Phantom Beast, any of that stuff. This thing just says no and just continues to plow through. That's all the monsters, 14 monsters total. Next up are the spells. First is my field spell lineup because Malefics need field spells. So first off, I got 3 Gear Towns. For those who don't know, their effect is that when it's on the field, Ancient Gear monsters require 1 less tribute. But the big thing I use about it is that when this is destroyed, I get to special summon 1 Ancient Gear monster from my hand, deck, or graveyard. So, my Ancient Gear Gajilotron's always live because of all the searching power I run for these field spells. I easily amass a hand of like maybe 2 Gear Towns and a Necro Valley. So I could easily just set a field spell, set another field spell on top of it, causing the bottom one to be destroyed, and that helps bring out my Ancient Gear Gajilotron Dragon. But 3 field spells aren't enough to maintain 6 Malefics, so I do run a couple of other ones. I love Necro Valley because Necro Valley, if they get their Hornets in the grave and take Insectors, Hornets in the grave, oh look, I play Necro Valley, Insectors can't grab them anymore.
Cries.
Stops the wind-up loop.
The sad tears come down.
Stops Red Eye's Darkness Metal Dragon from getting his effect. There's just so many things this thing stops that it's just, too good not to run.
I do not want to unzip.
Next up, 3 dualities. You know, just consistency. You know, it's just a 3 duality. I mean,
The
what's
draw
not-
power too. We
I
need
mean, the
something.
thing is, a lot of people, when first looking at a deck, say I special summon too much to use the deck. But if you just simply follow the 2 rules, is that if you already have a Malefic on the field, you don't have to worry about special summoning another one, so just Cloud of Duality. And if there's nothing else, you can do that turn anyway, besides either like a bad hand or something like that, you just do it anyway. I mean, you know, if you take one hit, it's not going to be the end of the world, and we do have enough back row to stop like OTKs and whatnot. So, duality, consistency, makes everything work. Next up, search for field spells. 3 terraformings, you know, simple, add a field spell to hand. Allows me to get multiple Gear Towns and Necro Valleys to hand so I can consistently spam out Ancient Gear Gajilotron Dragon, you know. It's basically a mini engine that keeps the big beaters coming out. And instead of MSTs, I run 3 Forbidden Lance. I used to run 3 MSTs, but I found that the thing is, especially with bottomless Yao coming around and everything like that, and just back row heavy decks in general, I would randomly MST one of his back row, summon a monster, and then find out the other back row I wanted would be the one I wanted to MST. So I found that I'd rather play defensively with my protective spells. By playing Lance, like if let's say
Oh my God, stop.
I summon a Malefic Cyber End and they try to bottomless it, I could simply Lance it, and it's still at 3,200, which is more than enough to run over almost all threats that I would consider, almost all monsters I would consider a threat. Also great, and those 1900 beaters that can now run over anything 2500 and lower. You know, it's great for protecting just about everything. Great card, and I think as the format continues, more decks are going to see more play for its just general versatility.
Definitely. We definitely should see them.
That's spells. Total spell count is
We'll have like the whole deck lineup,
14 spells.
all that other fun love stuff down below in the description. 'Cause you
Okay.
guys keep asking for it, so.
Now the trap lineup. You know, it ain't a Malefic deck if you don't have 3 of these. Skill drain.
You're silly.
I mean, I hate to sound like a hipster, but Malefics were playing triple skill drain before most other decks were. I know it's cliched, but I mean, skill drain. It's just the metas are so effect heavy that skill drain just literally just stops it all and allows us to slow down the pace of the game to our level. Where basically it's only a game of who has the higher attack monsters, and as you might know, of Malefics usually win the attack war. So skill drain. If skill drain's on the field, I don't need a field spell to keep my Malefics on the field. Also, it negates the part of Malefics where only the Malefic can attack, so I can use my skill drains for aggressive pushes if need be. Next up is 2 Compulse. I used to run triple D Prism, but with the priority change, I figured I'd run Compulse for a try. Just since priority is a thing of the past, I just run this. Stops his end mains, stops just about anything I'd really want to stop. So I did nothing really to complain about here.
Yeah. Also tell rabbits to go kick rocks with those.
Oh yeah, of course. Next up, Solemn Brigade, German
Never-
Solemn Judgment. Yay.
Ah.
I mean, what hasn't already been said about these guys? It's
Not
just-
much needs to be said.
Exactly.
You just gotta play them.
And last, I do have the Lances and the Solemn Brigade, I do find myself needing more protection. So for starters, I run a Starlight Road because, I set a lot of back row, the field spells. Every time I draw Starlight Road, it's almost always live because, they want to try and blow up my back row in some ways. Heavy Storm, JD, who knows what they'll do, but, this stops them. And last but not least, Dark Bribe. This is a highly contested card because a lot of people say that the inherent +1 that your opponent gets from this card is not worth it. But I feel that if they were going to Heavy Storm or Darkhold my field, and I Dark Bribe it, whatever they're going to draw won't be as good as that Heavy Storm or that Dark Bribe. And it's just so versatile in being able to negate both spells and traps that I always find it always saves my butts in duels, and it just allows me to continue to beat with my Malefics without any interference. That's it for the main deck.
What's next? Side or extra?
I guess do the side deck next because
Sure.
Okay. To start off,
The Veilers.
Tripper Veilers, because
The Veilers are Veilers. Not need to
Exactly.
say anything
And,
about those.
the With priority gone now, Valor's become even more powerful. So
They're
nothing
gonna
to
be worth a
complain
lot more
about.
money too now. Just
Mhm.
wait.
I mean, it's such a staple already that I really don't need to go much into what Valor can do.
Yeah, no, I hear you.
Next up, even though I run triple Lance in the main, I find that certain matchups I do want MST, especially some of the more meta decks like Insectors and windups that can side in Royal Decree, because as you saw about my trap lineup, Royal Decree would sort of give me a pain. So triple MST, I usually just take it out for the Lance, and I can play without much difference between the two. A good card. It's a staple. Um, Two-dimensional figure in the side. Great against Dark Worlds. Any random rogue deck I might find at a tournament.
Yeah.
Lightsworns, for example, because I know Lightsworns are slowly getting more popular.
Yeah, with this new dragon shit coming out, they're trying to make like a nice hybrid breed
Mm-hmm.
of with some light run stuff plus
Yeah.
the dragons. So
And
it's definitely gonna crush them.
I mean, outside of Thunder King Ryo, whose special summoning negating is disrupted by this, nothing else in my deck is affected by Dimensional Fissure.
Mhm.
So I could run two and play it as just a general stone card. But I don't like it in the main because sometimes it gets a bit cloggy against decks that it really doesn't hurt against. Next up, 2 Zombie World. This is from matchups where Necro Valley isn't favorable. Number one thing I use it against for Dino Rabbits. Since Zombie World makes all monsters on the field zombies, they can't, while they can rescue Rabbit into the 2 dinosaurs, those dinosaurs are now treated as zombies, so they can't go into Lagi or Dulka, which usually
No
just
more
leaves,
vanillas.
exactly, which usually just leaves Utopia for them to exceed for most of the time, and considering the amount of high attack monsters I have, Utopia doesn't scare me at all.
Gets
So,
crushed.
So exactly, if I play this and they don't have a response to it, I usually win within the next couple of turns. Next up, 2 Cyber Dragons. Machines. I mean, I don't know if you guys watch what's going on in the OCG, but Gear Gears are actually doing incredibly well right now. So as soon as that hits, it's going to be big. I mean, Gear Gears work with both Machinas and Karakuris, and they're already great in their own sense. Once Gear Gears come out, they're going to be better. But Cyber Dragons has put in work. It's Cyber Dragon. I think every deck I've ever seen, it's Cyber Dragons on the side. Next up, 2 Shadow Imprisoning Mirrors, Dark Worlds, any other random dark deck I might face.
Mainly just Dark Worlds, but yeah, you never know.
Oh, Insectors as well. Can't forget Insectors.
Yeah, you can't forget those as well.
Activate it. Dark Monsters effects can't be activated on the field or graveyard. Yeah. I mean, I don't know what else to say to it. It's a one-sentence effect. Can't say
Yeah,
much
not
about
much
that.
we have to really say.
And last but not least, I run a Gravekeeper's Commandant. This is mainly for what is it? Insectors and windups, because if I get Necro Valley, because when I play those decks, it's a priority to get Necro Valley on the field as fast as possible, and Commandant helps with that. If I'm playing Insectors, I'll take out a Ryo for it, because Ryo doesn't do too much against Insectors. And if I'm playing windups, I will take out a Doomcal for it, because for the same reason, just opposite, because Doomcal doesn't. It does work against windups, and not as much as I'd like, but I'd rather have the Gravekeeper's Commandant. And if worst comes to worst, if I already have a Necro Valley in the field, it's 2100, which it's a nice boost. Can't go wrong with that. And that's a side deck. Now for the extra deck. Start off, for the Malefics, I have 3 Stardust Dragons. I 9 times out of 10, I just use them to remove for the Malefic. And there's just a couple of times, Starlight Road, bring it out. If I already have a field presence, I just want some extra protection. It's a good card, Stardust Dragon. Next, I got 3 Cyberend Dragons. This is the sole purpose of, moving from play for Malefic Cyberend. Nothing much to write home about there. Next up, number 39, Utopia. Because, the rare chance I have a Doomcal and a Ryo on the field, and, I need some defense. It's there for the 1 in a million chance that I need to exceed for Utopia.
Just in case.
Next up is 2 Chimera Fortress Dragons.
Obviously, so this.
Sydra's, it's just there for, Cyber Dragons, machines. And next up, just sort of added here, these are sort of proxy slots for when the time comes that more rank 8 exceeds come out. I'll probably slowly
Replacing
take
them.
these out, and when Gen 9 Pro comes out, I'll probably take
Yeah.
one out there. So, because, Heliopolis, the Heretic guy's coming out, and Galactic Overlord, and, like these would just go a Malefic Stardust and Ancient Gigantron, and, for when I need it. And, Neo Galaxy Eyes, Photon Dragon, as well, in those rare circumstances that I can do it.
Yeah, we're just waiting now.
Exactly. This is just filler right now, but once again, I so rarely exceed that I can really, I really don't care much about the exceed element, but it's nice
Yep.
to have when we get it.
So that's it, YouTube. Comment, like, subscribe. Give us what do you guys think about this build? Definitely interesting. Definitely something that can keep up. Little anti-meta, not little, very anti-meta. Definitely can destroy a lot of competition. So comment down below. Tell us what you think, and take care, YouTube. Peace.